Blah 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 blah.
People in legal and whatever. But if you've got people that are making parts for the car who don't even watch the race,
or don't even know what that part does,
exactly, then no offence, whoever's hired them in the first place. I remember when I went for a job at Adidas. Oh my God, I got quizzed on Adidas, and I didn't give a shit. But I were given a massive quiz, and if I didn't get the quiz right, then that were, you haven't done your research, and bye.
Well, live. Interesting conversation that, James.
What, Star Wars?
No. Didn't get all of your conversation, but got some of it. Which I'm sure we'll get on to. I just thought I'd start it without telling you.
I had a feeling that you might have done.
Yeah. So anyway, hello everybody. I'll tell you what TV here, the unofficial F1 podcast. And yes, we are on a little bit later than normal. Hashtag blame James.
Yeah.
But we did know beforehand, and to be honest, I fully intended to get the live stream scheduled earlier today for later this evening, but I ended up not getting it done. So yeah, hashtag blame James, but also hashtag fuck it, blame Steve.
Hashtag wham.
Yeah, hashtag wham.
Steve, do you know what that means? Hashtag wham.
I do, of course I do.
Hey!
Yeah. Well, we did talk about it live on commentary.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, we're here today for a bit of a chat about this weekend's British Grand Prix. And just to let everybody know as well, by the way, that I am using a new YouTube system that I didn't have a choice about. So if there are any problems, please let us know. It's not in my control, really. So yeah, we're going to be talking about this weekend's British Grand Prix, but hopefully we're not going to be on for too long. To be honest, I think what I would start off with, guys, is we did seem to have quite a high viewer count. Well, not that high. For us, high viewer count when we did the live podcast during the Austrian Grand Prix. Probably helped that it was a good race. So get it out there straight away. What's people's plans for this weekend? Is it something that could be done again, or is it something that, due to family commitments or whatever it might be, not going to be able to do?
It's really up to Steve. I'm up for it if Steve's up for it, but I know that Steve's obviously got his family to consider.
Get a room.
I think I'm okay to do it this week.
If Steve's busy, me and you can just do it, Dave.
We could, yeah. It'd seem a bit weird doing it without Steve, but we could always just get him to pre-record some comments like, I don't want to watch the fucking replay, and then play it in the...
What the fuck, Mike? Still haven't got to
yeah.
Or just random giggles from him. So if we make a joke, we just play him giggling in background.
Yeah. Nah, we'd need fart noises to make it realistic.
We can call him Virtual Steve.
Mm. Yeah.
Virtually Steve.
Steve.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you guys are up for it, then yeah, I'm up for it as long as I'm capable.
Awake.
Well, yeah. That's yes. It just sounds very lazy saying that though. But yeah, there's more to it than that. But as long as I'm up and able to do it, then yeah, we'll do it. To be honest, I'm so out of it at the minute that I don't even know what time the race is on. I'm guessing 1:10 race
Yeah,
starts.
it should be 1ish, wouldn't it?
I think it's changed.
Right.
What?
I think it's changed. I'll double check my calendar. Bear with me.
Yeah, because
Yeah, 2:10. They moved everything an hour later this season. Yeah, 2:10.
okay. Well, I know on the Austrian one we did. I mean, we didn't. We only got live like about 6 minutes before the formation lap.
Blame James.
Yeah. Hashtag blame James. To be honest, I think if we were able to going live by the hour, I think should potentially be our target if possible.
So 2:00.
2:00, which would give us 10 minutes talk time to cover anything that we'd want to cover, because obviously qualifying would have happened, and then yeah, we can talk about what happens in the race. So yeah, we'll obviously get that sorted out, and I will try and get a live stream scheduled. I'm not going to do it too early, but probably the night before. James?
Hang on,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah? Yeah, it's on its way.
A chamomile tea. You got any biscuits with that?
Here's a question, James. Does she have milk with her chamomile tea?
No.
Good.
No, I
Good.
learned that lesson.
Yeah,
When I turned up, what the fuck's that?
Yeah. There's only two things that should go in tea: milk or lemon. But it depends on
three.
the tea. Oh God, what's
Three.
that? Go on.
A spoon to stir it.
Yeah. Fucking hell. But it doesn't add to the flavour though, does it? By the way, anyway, I was quoting off of a movie, and oh my God, I can't remember what the fuck it's called. My brain just ain't working.
Remember, Dave, you got to record every single thing Steve says, just so we can virtually use him on Saturday.
Well, it's a good job we're doing the podcast and it's being recorded.
Yeah.
And then be like, yeah, but then we could be like, what do you think, Steve? And he'd be like, a spoon so you can stir it.
Yeah. Fucking hell, what was this? Tom Hanks going after the Holy Grail. Yeah. Okay. I'm not the only one.
I know what you mean. I know which one you mean. Yeah.
It's about the Da Vinci Code. The Da Vinci Code. There we go.
That's it.
Got there in the end.
Sorry. I was thinking, all I heard were, I were in the kitchen and internet breaks up and you just hear, bip, 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 and all I heard were...
Castaway.
No. All I heard was... oh, fucking hell, my brain's gone now. What did you just say?
I don't know, I can't remember.
Holy Grail.
Oh, right, yeah. Holy Grail, yeah.
And then my brain went, that third Indiana Jones movie where he's got to get the cup. He's got to get
the chalice.
Choose wisely, and he goes for pot one.
Yeah, not the golden one.
Yeah.
We've already gone off topic from Silverstone. We haven't actually got on topic to Silverstone yet. To be honest, we'll wait until James has made his lovely partner a chamomile tea, and we'll wait until Steve's put his Velociraptor away. So anyway, we'll try and do another live podcast during the race, 'cause it was good doing it last time. It definitely made the watching the race more interesting, but it definitely helped that it was an interesting race. Actually, you know what? Before we do sort of really kick on with the British Grand Prix, because no doubt it's going to be talked about while James is doing the cup of tea, Steve.
Yeah.
Your reaction to the fact that the stewards A took how many fucking hours to come to a decision, and B, the decision was no further action because not one person was fully to blame.
Well, yeah. Let me just cover
What's Max Chilton got to do with this?
Right.
I need to make that.
First of all, the race finished at nearly 4:00 our time. the drivers were not called to the stewards' room until 6 o'clock, or they were given a time to be at the stewards' room at 6 o'clock. So you already got to wait 2 hours after the race for them to actually go into the stewards' room. They're in there for 45 minutes, both drivers at the same time. They come out, and it's another 1.5 hours before we hear anything from the stewards. Why does it take so long?
I think they already knew what decision they'd made, and then when they made that decision, they thought, right, let's drag this out. We want to make sure that all the TV stations are off by the time we announce.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
When you're a fan and you're watching the sport and you're stood there looking up at the podium to see who's going to win, if the stewards already know whether a decision is going to be made or not, wouldn't it have been better when Martin Brundle walks out with his microphone to go up to him? They can actually say on the microphone, we can, say to Max, pleased to say that no further action as neither driver can is wholly responsible. Everyone will know. Everyone knows that, and the people there watching it would know.
Don't you just think though that Steve, that this is the complete utter failure that Formula One has without Charlie Whiting? Because you remember that Mexican Grand Prix, Verstappen did a move and he got on podium, and by the time he got out of his car, Charlie Whiting were over there going, "Nah, fuck off, mate. I've made the decision."
That was America, not Mexico.
No, America was different. There was two. There was that one.
The one in Mexico was when Verstappen was put on the podium instead of Kimi Raikkonen. America was where
the other way around.
Yeah,
because he basically was told to leave
off.
the podium. But anyway, about the decision itself, the report basically said, the stewards report basically said, no penalty to be given on racing incident because there was no driver wholly at fault. So what they're saying is that Leclerc was partially at fault. How the fuck can he be at fault? What did he do wrong?
Fuck all.
He drove around the corner and got hit.
Yeah.
Now, whether they're saying that what Max Verstappen did or did not warrant a penalty, I'm not going to go into that at the minute. The point is that what was wrong with Leclerc putting his car there? Nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the rules that says you cannot try and drive around the outside of somebody around the corner.
Well, he wasn't trying to drive around the outside of someone, was he? He was being attempted to be overtaken, and he had to take the outside line. He wasn't given a choice of where to put his car. And I don't know how they came to the decision of... I mean, looking at the way that you are, which is what did Leclerc do wrong? The answer, I believe, is nothing. Well, if Leclerc did nothing wrong, how did he end up off the track? He was pushed there by Verstappen. So by the rules, did Verstappen do something wrong? And the answer is yes. So he should have been given a penalty. I think James is right, though, that had Charlie Whiting still been around, it wouldn't have gone on as long as it did, because Charlie Whiting had experienced it before where, yes, the race result has been done, but actually it's not confirmed. And they want it confirmed at least before the TV shows go off air. So the spectators, the viewers, know what the result is when they leave the track.
But also, right, why is it? Why did the FIA make it more important, or the stewards, or whatever you want to call them, right? Why did they make it more important for those drivers or teams to do their media first before the stewards' inquiry? Because you're going to go and stand up there in front of the media, and the questions are going to be, do you think you were at fault for that last lap incident?
Exactly.
All right, well, they're not going to really know what to say because they're going to be under investigation. Now, if I was a driver, I'd probably say, well, I'm not going to comment because I'm under investigation. But
no,
wouldn't it be easier?
You wouldn't. You'd say, I didn't do nothing wrong. It was his fucking fault. Show me the camera.
Well, it depends on which car I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean, though? I mean,
yeah, they should have been out of the cars. Okay, do the podium. From the podium, steward's office.
Yeah. Once you come out the steward's office, if they want to go and do media stuff, fair play, do it. But, okay, the teams have got they're supposed to do so much media work with it so that they get their money from
Fuck 'em.
the sport.
Oh,
There should be something in there that says if you've got drivers that are under investigation at the end of a race, then they don't have to go and do the media work.
At the end of the day, the media will wait around for them.
Yeah.
All I'll say is,
you know,
right?
like, go on, Jim.
All I'll say is,
What the fuck's Max Chilton
You
going to do?
forgot what you were going to say now, haven't you?
No, I know what I'm going to say. I just don't know how to word it. Right, this is it. I'm going to word it as a question.
Which fucking idiot?
Which incident out of this one for the race lead at Austria and the one between Sebastian Vettel and Hamilton at Canada, which incident do you believe deserved a penalty more? Out of both incidents, which one do you believe deserved a penalty more?
It's a good question. It's a good question, and I've seen other people ask this question on YouTube as well. And which one deserved the penalty more? This one with Verstappen. But if I had to say, should they both have the same penalty? Which way should it go? Should they both get penalties, or should they both not get penalties? I believe they both should get penalties. But if one should get a penalty and one shouldn't, it should be the other way around.
The one thing for me which makes me... At the time, I agreed with you, Steve, saying, look, Vettel made a mistake, he fucked up, he went off track, came back on a bit dangerously, Hamilton had to slam on, and it were a penalty. Yeah. But it were controversial at the time. Yeah. And I could have took or left it, right? But this move was clearly intentional.
Yeah, it was.
Because on the previous lap, we all said, oh, Max Verstappen, he's gone up the inside, what a brilliant move. And then we were all dumbfounded, literally 10 seconds later, when Charles Leclerc had the outside line and just absolutely pinned it on the throttle and breezed straight back in front of him. Yeah. And we all went, oh, look at the traction, brilliant, what a move there. That was stored then for the next lap in Verstappen's head. And I'm going to do the same move, only this time I'm not giving him an inch.
Yeah.
Now, Leclerc, in a way, he should have seen it coming. In a way, he should have probably defended. He knew what happened on the previous lap. This time, look, it's for the race win. Go defensive.
Or go for the switchback. If he'd have gone for the undercut, the switchback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But his head at the time, just like anything, you can't reverse time. Yeah. And he did the same thing. And
right,
once again,
hang on, Steve, let me finish.
But once again, it was left in a situation where it was Charles Leclerc put his car in a situation where he should have been entitled to a car's width.
Yeah.
There's no way on it. There's nothing at all in them rules that say he should not be entitled to a car's width, because at no point was he completely behind. At the point of contact where Verstappen bumps into Charles Leclerc, it was axle, front wheel axle to front wheel axle. Therefore, Charles Leclerc, that point of the contact, was pretty much should have been given a car's width. If he'd have been behind, and let's say Charles Leclerc's wheel hit Verstappen's side pod, I would say in my head, well, he's slightly in front, therefore he's allowed to do so. The only way, Steve said that not one driver was wholly to blame, right? Which is pathetic.
Yeah.
But if there was a driver that was to blame, the only way that I would have seen that going the same way and getting the same reaction is if, for example, Verstappen dived up the inside and at the last moment, Charles Leclerc moved slightly to the left to pincer Verstappen, and then he did the same thing and bumped him off the track, but he didn't. This is the thing. Charles Leclerc had nothing to feel bad about or did in any way anything wrong because he hung it round the outside. And once he was round the outside and it was apex to apex, at that point, he was entitled to a car's width. However, Verstappen, in his brain, he knew what had happened on the previous lap. So therefore, for me, it was an intentional move to force another driver off the track. Therefore, that's my reason for giving him a penalty. There's nothing that Charles Leclerc did wrong. And all them... I reckon if it was not at the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, I don't think it's really a massive thing that it was at the Red Bull Ring, but I think just because of the amount of fans that were there for Charles Leclerc, I think...
Do you mean Verstappen?
Yeah, sorry, other way around. For Verstappen, all them cheeseheads were there, and I reckon at that point they thought to themselves, we don't want to riot on those hands.
Yeah.
And no offence, that's fucking disgusting because the crowd, no matter what, should dictate what the stewards make their decision.
Shouldn't.
You're
getting really pent up here. So just to clarify, he said apexes, he meant axles. He said he said Leclerc, he meant Verstappen. And you said shouldn't
also
influence
though, James,
them,
right?
or should influence, but you meant shouldn't. So yeah.
All right. You say they shouldn't or shouldn't influence them, and they didn't want a riot on their hands, but there wasn't going to be a riot if they'd have released that decision straight after the checkered flag.
Yeah.
Because it would have been in keeping with what the fans at the track would have been wanting. So there wouldn't have been a riot because there would have been no change.
Because Steve, me and you were normal F1 fans.
No, James, you misunderstand what he's saying. The decision is that it wouldn't have gone against Verstappen, so it wouldn't have bothered the fans. That's what Steve's
there wouldn't have
saying.
been a riot.
If it had gone the other way, would there have been a riot? Maybe, maybe not.
There'd have been so much booing. It'd have been, and then it'd have been media all week.
But they could have had the drivers in the stewards' room straight away. Mm-hmm. Or they could. I don't even think they needed the drivers. It's like, well, hang on a minute, let's have a look here.
They don't need the drivers.
All right, to be fair, I think this decision was made because they know they made the wrong decision at the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah. So therefore, two wrongs don't make a right.
And because so many people after the Canadian Grand Prix basically said, oh, we should just let them race, we need to let them get on with it, it's what the drivers want, blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of like the stewards are now thinking, well, maybe we should be letting them race and have a bit of contact. But it wasn't a bit of contact. It wasn't like in the middle of the road, bit of contact and still left them a car's width. It was contact and you're not fucking coming past, mate.
Yeah, you're going off the road so I can get past. Right, okay, I'm going to put an end to this because that's like 20 minutes talking about Leclerc and Verstappen.
All I'll say is, hang on, before I finish, if there'd have been a wall there, they'd have both been out.
Yeah, true.
Do you agree with me then, both of you? And I reckon we should campaign for this as much as possible.
Yeah, it should be reversed.
No. I wasn't going to say that. Do you believe that we should campaign for the fact that in Formula One, they should always allow a car's width next to you when you've got somebody alongside, no matter whether it's on a straight into a corner, in the apex of a corner, or on the exit of a corner.
And it doesn't matter how far alongside.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And if you think they might be, you leave space.
Yeah.
It would create so much more action.
That way, it wouldn't matter. I mean, if you turned in and you hit someone, you're at fault. If you're in the middle of a corner and you straighten up and you push someone off track, you're at fault.
Yeah, unless, obviously, there is the unless it is an unsafe dive bomb. I mean, there are late braking moves which are legitimate. They're not dive bombs. But when you've got a dive bomb, because that's the thing that someone might go, well, I'm going to chuck it up the inside here from miles behind, and if he turns in on me, he'll get the penalty. Well, no, he won't, because you were driving like a dick. But yeah, I fully agree with you, because we've been saying it for, a year and a half now on these podcasts. It would make so much better racing. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of former drivers that I like that talk about, it's all part of racing and blah. Okay, I understand that, but it's shit for the entertainment side of things.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's okay for the person, but this is what I meant at the time of the podcast. Verstappen, in his head, there's something wrong if he's happy with that move. If he's happy with that move, there's something wrong in his head. There's only one way I'd be happy to take that win, and that's to have a fair fight.
Yeah.
And that's where, I mean, people like Verstappen will go down the same as Schumacher. Schumacher, yeah, he's got all them titles and he's statistically the greatest Formula 1 driver ever. However, wheel to wheel, he was a dirty fuck.
Well, this is.
I was going to say, what do you remember? What do you remember about Schumacher when he was racing Hill? When he was racing Mika Hakkinen?
I remember when Schumacher in 2011 put Hamilton on the grass through Curva Grande.
And what about Barrichello?
It's like going at Curva Grande, they're going at about 200 mile an hour, and he put him on the grass. If that doesn't tell you serial killer, what more do you need to know?
Well, that's going a bit far. But I mean, what I would say is, I mean, there's a common saying which is no one remembers the runner-up. Given the Schumacher era, people remember Hill as the runner-up because Schumacher crashed him out.
Yeah. Jacques Villeneuve tried to do the same, didn't he? But it didn't work.
Didn't work, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, some people... someone was going to say, yeah, okay, some people would say, like, with the always leaving a car width. I mean, some people would say... I mean, I'm not a fan of... I'm diverging away from what I was actually going to say, but... Because one of the arguments that people use is, oh, well, I had the racing line. Well, the racing line in a corner tends to go from one side of the track to the other and then back to the other side of the track. So if there's a car on the inside of you, at some point they've got the racing line. It's all to just leave fucking room. Right, but hang on. Let me finish, because otherwise I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. Now, I've said this so many times over the years, and that is that people would say, "Oh, yeah, but there's some corners where you shouldn't go side by side." So hang on a minute. Other than Monaco, every corner can be taken. Well, okay, Baku has a bit that you can't. But every corner you can go side by side. You just have to slow down enough to do it. And this is what creates further action. Let's take Spa, for example. Two cars come down towards the final chicane. They're side by side. They have to give each other room. They're side by side through the chicane. They're slow, which means the cars behind catch them up. That introduces action. Okay? So then the person is going to think, right, do I bother attacking into the chicane? Maybe not. Maybe I'll do it at turn one instead. Gives a better opportunity. You know, it just produces better racing, better entertainment, and it means that as a driver, you know, right, we're just about side by side. He has to give me the room, and I have to give him the room, right? So as a driver, you know, right, I can put my car here, I'm allowed to. And the other one knows, right, he's alongside me, I can't push him I can't push him off the track. And then you get things like this situation with Verstappen and Leclerc, where there would simply be no fucking around. It would be there wouldn't even be an investigated after the race. It'd be an instant decision. That's a penalty, you dick.
Yeah, it'd be an instant decision straight away, so the race organisers wouldn't even have to give a penalty. That just by the time he got down to turn 4, which I call turn 3. Yeah. Anyway, by the time he got to there, there'd have been a steward popping up on screen going, "Swap positions back."
Yeah, or 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it could be done that quick, and I'm not a fan of well, don't get me wrong, I'm more than happy for drivers to give their opinion on an incident or give their view on an incident. But what I'm not a fan of is drivers saying, "Oh, well, I locked up and there was nothing I could do. I locked up and I understeered." Yeah. Well, you fucked up then, didn't you?
Yeah.
You didn't brake correctly. He didn't brake correctly.
Exactly.
You pressed the brake pedal, it locked up.
Yeah.
Your car hit their car. Your fault.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a bit of oversteer, and it meant I slapped into him. And you put your foot down too hard, then, didn't you? There's way too much moaning and groaning, and I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do think. Right, and I am putting a stop to this now as well, right? I do think that there will be a review regarding stewards and the FIA, because I don't think any of the team... Well, let's put it this way. Ferrari wanted to appeal the decision on Vettel, so you can pretty fucking damn sure that they're going to be wanting an investigation into this, because...
They've said they're not going to.
No, wait, no. They said they're not going to appeal the decision, right? But that's not the same as, for example, they wanted to appeal the decision in Canada, but technically they couldn't, but they found a little loophole that meant that they would have the opportunity for it to be reviewed. And effectively it was an investigation into the steward's decision-making process, right? Now, with this incident with Leclerc and Verstappen, that's the second time that something's happened that's ended up with the stewards making a decision that the team strongly are against, and they've already started requesting for an investigation into the stewards making decision. This now just adds to that. So it's not that, yes, Ferrari have said that they're not going to appeal the decision because they probably don't see the point, right? But it doesn't mean that they're not going to request further investigation into the stewards, which I think on this one they would be fully within their rights to do so. Anyway, that's it, done. No more Leclerc, Verstappen, Austria, Canada. We're here to talk about Silverstone, James. We're here to talk about Silverstone, so fuck it.
Silverstone.
I mean,
hey, talking Silverstone, I was watching a classic Silverstone of 2000, and it were a belter of a race.
Yeah.
Cars were sliding all over the place, so much power. They looked like they were made out of paper. It was fucking brilliant. No DRS, and even then we had Brundle. I really wish Brundle had watched that race back, because at the time Brundle's going, "Oh, they're really suffering with the dirty air."
Not like, compared to now.
You haven't, in 19 years' time, that's real dirty air. If they were able to overtake with no DRS in year 2000, there were about 50 overtakes going on constantly. There were a four-way battle for lead with a Ferrari out in front.
In the year 2000, wasn't there fuel?
Yeah, there was fuel. But this is one thing I thought, and Rosberg brought up on his podcast, right? He says that obviously they didn't want to have refueling after 2009, so in terms of safety, they reduced the refueling. And he said even as a driver, he knew that the opening first stint of a race was pretty crap, because you were driving round 10 seconds a lap slower than you were in qualifying.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, he didn't really feel like you could push it because you were having to look after the tyres, because if you pushed, the tyres in the opening stint just destroyed themselves. So he says once your strategy had gone into a one-stop, that pretty much means your race is shit, because if you go for a one-stop race, that means you start with heavy fuel, and you've got to go a pretty much half distance before you can get a new set of tyres and start to push. He says by that point, you might be 20 seconds behind the leader, so that's like no chance of a fight for the lead. So he said, in this day's technology, there must be sensors and shit where if you put a fuel hose on a Formula 1 car, that unless all the sensors are lined up and light up green, there's no way that the fuel can go in, and there's no way that if you had also a sensor for the pulling out bit, he said you could have a sensor where it's got to be a full second without the fuel flowing into the car before that fuel rig's lifted up. He says whereas back in 2008 the sensors was shit. And he says, like, with today's technology, there must be a way of having refueling.
They'd have to
having
do it though. They'd have to do it where the car, if the driver hits the throttle and the fuel is still connected, it don't work.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he could have the car turn itself off while refueling's going on.
The thing is, though, right? Yes, there is the safety issue, and yes, okay, current technology, modern technology would be able to do it so much better. But there's another big factor with refueling, which is why I firmly believe it should never be brought back into Formula One, and that is that all of your overtakes end up being when someone is in the pits. I don't want
Or
to
someone's
see...
on heavy fuel, someone's on light fuel. They're not equal.
Well, the thing is, right? I mean, this theory of, yeah, but you could have a car that's on heavy fuel being caught up by a car that's on light fuel, and okay, it happens now and again, but it ain't every race, because your race leader's not going to go with heavy fuel, is he? Because he don't want to get fucking bogged down. So he's going to try and run a minimal amount of fuel, but that's just enough for his strategy. So everyone's pretty much on a similar set amount of fuel, apart from someone that might be out of position technically. So
or on their first pit stop, they decide to short fill or long fill.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't work. I mean, right. One of the reasons I say this, and I do kind of have some first-hand experience with this, but from a gaming world, when I was racing on R Factor 2 in the top Formula 1 league on there, and they had refueling, it added absolutely nothing to the action. Nothing at all. It took it away. Because people would go, well, if I pit now, I'm going to be heavier. So, right, he's pitted, so I'm going to wait a few laps, and then I'll pit, and the overtake's done in the pit lane. And I think the only way I can describe it is it was fucking boring. It was boring to race.
The easiest way I can explain it, though, right, is the racing league that I run with Ray, Dynamic GT League, on Gran Turismo. We've got it where we try and create close racing. We haven't got fuel on, but we have got tyre wear, and we've got a bit of boost, and we've got a bit of slipstream in. But if you time it right and you pit 1 or 2 laps before other people, you can catch them up as they pit, and then you just drive past them. You haven't got to overtake them. Where's the overtaking gone?
Well, the thing is, though, in your racing league, you still have lots of action going on the track.
I was using it as a small example for James and also other people that watch this podcast that race in our league might be able to.
I'm not saying that it's a completely brilliant idea. I'm just saying they took it away because of safety.
Well, there is an easy way to do it that's safe. And look at what Formula E did in the first couple of seasons.
Change cars.
Change cars.
No.
Every time you want to do a fuel stop, you got to get out of one car and get into another that's got a certain amount of fuel in it for your next stint.
No, thanks. That was an absolute fucking embarrassment, to be fair. I mean, okay. I get what Rosberg was saying there, that with a heavy car, it is a very different situation. But at the same time, I think
1
second, James, 1 second, right, please. Because let's say, for example, in Formula One, the current F1 car, if they got rid of all the hybridity, new word for you. Yeah, if they got rid of all the hybrid systems, it's going to remove, off the top of my head, probably about 160 kilos. All of a sudden,
and also nearly 200 horsepower.
Yeah, but you telling me they couldn't get that horsepower back through a naturally aspirated engine without adding extra weight? I bet they fucking could. Which then means that your car is now 100 odd kilos lighter with full fuel. That means faster cars.
Yeah, I see your point. Bigger turbo, faster car.
Yeah. So anyway, right, Silverstone. We still haven't talked Silverstone.
But hang on, before I talk Silverstone, the only reason I mentioned that is because we were saying about Hamilton saying that he finished races and he says like it feels like he could do another 4. sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, especially like at Monaco, because it's like, well, it's more of a mind game than a physical game. And Rosberg was just saying, if you want the drivers to truly earn a Grand Prix, says you want them to push like mad.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, well, what you need to do then is, if you want the drivers to push like mad, you need to work out a way for the drivers to push like mad, but without refueling.
Yeah. Yeah. Make them electric. No. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting topic, and I know, James, you do want to talk about Nico Rosberg's podcast, which we will get onto in a little while, but I do want to at least talk a little bit about Silverstone. We've been on for 40 minutes, and the only conversation we've had about Silverstone is me saying, right, let's talk Silverstone, and you two going, well, hang on a minute. So, right.
Hang on.
Fuck off. All right, Silverstone Grand Prix this
Hey,
weekend.
did you hear about?
How do I turn their microphones off? Fucking. Fucking hell.
I've heard Max Chilton's going to be there this weekend.
You know what, James? You're on Twitter, right? Would you believe this, Steve? Right, James. Now I'm going to not talk. So James actually said to me within the last couple of weeks, because you know what, we should really have Twitter for I'll Tell You What TV. I says, I know we asked you to do it at the start, and you fucking haven't. He's like, did you? Yeah. Oh, you see, now if you had an I'll Tell You What TV Twitter, right, you'd be able to put out the hashtag. What the fuck's it got to do with Max Chilton?
I'd be winding everybody up.
Yeah.
I'd be a Russian troll.
Fucking hell. Right, anyway, Silverstone Grand Prix. Last season, Silverstone was the start of some real racing in F1. I've got a feeling, I haven't looked at what the weather's going to be for this coming weekend, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a little bit of a disappointment after the high of Austria. But I think it depends on which sort of sides of the teams turn up. I wouldn't be surprised if McLaren just fucking blitz it again. But having said that, there's only, 2 slow corners? Ferrari could be mighty around Silverstone. But then Red Bull, I mean, in all fairness, other than me predicting that Verstappen was going to win the race in Austria, I don't think many people would have actually pegged the Red Bull with a Honda engine as having the power to do that.
I don't think it was the power. I thought it was the cooling, because they said that the Ferrari and especially Mercedes, they just cut
to open them up. Yeah.
And even then, they said that Hamilton and Bottas were lifting and coasting 100 metres before braking for turn 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And Verstappen wasn't having to do much of that. So, if anything, Honda have found fucking something with the cooling.
Yeah, basically, their engine doesn't get that hot. Doesn't go that fast. I mean,
just to answer a question though about the weather for the weekend.
Yeah.
Just brought up a website on my phone about the Silverstone Grand Prix weather for this weekend. The temperature for race day is expected to be 20 to 21 degrees, while according to the latest forecast, there is no chance of rain for Saturday or Sunday.
Okay. Well, if I remember rightly, last year at Silverstone, I think the track temperature was in the 50s. If you remember, because it was in the middle of the monster heat wave that we had. So, which obviously spiced things up with tyres. But I don't know, something just making me think that this weekend's going to be a little bit of potentially a damp squib.
Squib?
Yeah.
What's a squib?
Squib. It's the word that's actually used in that saying.
Not squid, not a damp squid.
No, the word, it's not actually you don't say damp squid, right? And I know this because I heard someone say it once, and I was like, twats just fucking said squib. It's squid, but it's not. It's squid.
No, it's not.
What is a squib?
I'll tell you what it is. you know, in a movie, when a bullet goes off, clearly there's no bullets really, but then they have impact squibs.
The blood splatters.
Sometimes the blood splatters, but sometimes the sparks. And they're tiny, and they usually have them on I remember on GoldenEye when
they're like tiny little explosions, aren't they?
Tiny little explosions. So if you're
running up a fire escape and someone's shooting at you,
there's
and all
sparks
they can hit is
going
the
off.
metal bits. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't hit you.
Yeah.
They hit the squibs, right?
But if
the
they're
squibs
damp,
go off, but if they're damp, they don't go off.
There you go.
So it's a damp squib. It's a shit. It's like a really shit special effect that hasn't worked.
So basically, it's like a
So
wet
basically,
explosion.
it's like so what you're saying is it's shrapnel that's not on fire because it's wet.
No.
It's actually a small explosive device. It's wet.
It's a small explosive device that's carefully planned and laid out so that when the actor runs in front of it, it looks like there's bullets skimming past him, even though they aren't.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but you know what? I'm actually going to fucking Google it, right? Definition of damp squib. Damp squib, a situation or event which is much less impressive than expected. My moment of power was
the metaphor.
Yeah. Why is it called a squib? A squib load, also known as a squib round, pop and no kick, or just a squib, is a firearm malfunction in which a fired projectile doesn't have enough force behind it to exit the barrel and thus becomes stuck. So that's where it originally came from.
Right.
Oh, so you shoot a gun and it goes poof and doesn't actually come out the end of the barrel.
Yeah.
So a bit like firing.
So when you've got wet ammo, having wet ammo.
Kind of, yeah. So you see, I knew I was right. I wasn't making up that word. Now, don't get me wrong. On commentary the other day, that was fucking completely different. Anyway, should we talk about Silverstone?
I reckon it'd be a damp squib.
Yeah. Well, if it's not going to rain, how can it be going to be damp?
Chilton's going to piss on the track.
Well,
that's what it's got to do with Chilton.
All right. Last season they had new tarmac down. They had to relay it again for this season. Different type of compound.
No.
Right. Yeah. So it's had 3 different surfaces in 3 years, Silverstone. Right. And because of MotoGP, I must add. Because if you remember rightly, they laid it down. The British Grand Prix went there, and it was like, we've relayed it because it was a bit too bumpy in places. But what happened is because the Formula 1 cars went on it quite early and the hot weather,
it created bumps.
It created bumps, like ripples in the braking zones. MotoGP complained like hell that it was more bumpy than what it was originally.
Fucking hell.
So it got relayed after the MotoGP, which was a few months ago now. It got relayed for this year's MotoGP and this year's...
A little bit of a tip for the Silverstone organisers. Lay your tarmac at least 2 months in advance before any motorsports take place.
Yeah, but they can't predict what the weather's like.
Yeah, but therefore your tarmac will go hard. Whereas if it's a bit like baking a cake and pulling it out of the oven before it's finished and then going,
yeah, but
ruined.
If you, with a road though, right? If you could bake it exactly how you want it, but then just as the Formula 1 cars come along to drive on it and it's like burnt to a crisp and quite nice, all of a sudden somebody turns that oven on again and melts it all.
Well,
and that's what happened while the F1 cars
why
were there.
Why don't MotoGP decide to go racing before the Formula 1 cars get there?
Exactly.
I mean...
Why don't they go and pick their own fucking racetracks to race on?
Yeah, there's plenty of them that aren't used anywhere near enough.
Go to Donington, I thought they liked going to Donington.
Oh no, that's got big bumps. It's called a hill.
A Graham. All right, but also Donington, they have the British Superbikes, not MotoGP.
Oh, can't have that, can we?
Anyway, should we talk Silverstone?
Should we do the predictions?
We do need to do the predictions.
I just thought if we start doing predictions, it might make us talk.
God, you know what though, right? Yes, but actually no. Right? Are you ready for this?
No.
Okay, so let's have a look at doing the predictions for Silverstone. And let me just open up the Excel page that I keep all the scores on. Oh, and I've written a notice on the one for Silverstone which says update Austria.
Oh, yes.
Because we didn't know if Max Verstappen was actually going to have kept the win, but also one of our predictions was
Fastest pit stop.
fastest pit stop. So we need to find out. Let's see, DHL fastest pit stop award. Ow. 2019. No, no, I don't want to watch. No, I don't want to watch a YouTube clip. I want to go onto their website.
Yeah, have you seen YouTube just start having 2 adverts now?
Oh, okay.
It depends on the video.
Oh, okay. I can tell you that the fastest pit stop award is between 2 teams: Red Bull and Williams.
Williams.
Steve said Red Bull. James and me said Williams.
I think we all get a point then.
No, we don't, because Williams were faster.
I thought you said, when you said it's between 2 teams, I thought you meant it was between 2 teams at the same time.
I didn't say that though, did I? I said it's between 2 teams, meaning that these were the top 2 teams. You see? It's a bit like who won the Premier League. Ah, well, it was really close between 2 teams.
What were times then?
Red Bull 2.09, Williams 2.02.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I'll let you off then if
They're
it was
good at
faster.
summer. At least they're good at summer, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. So that means that Steve on the last lot of predictions got 1 point, James got 2, and I got 4. Okay, we are.
I'll tell you something good Williams are good at. They're good at helping hospitals.
They are, to be fair, they are. They do have their departments, which is all about electronics for baby monitors and stuff like that. Okay.
I think Kevin Magnussen should help out driving ambulances.
Oh, fuck you.
Fuck. Your baby's lost its head.
Oh, Jesus.
Suck my balls.
Magnussen could never be a cop, could he? Right, I'm pulling you over for prostitution. Suck my balls.
He'd have already run him over. Get out of the car, put your hands on your head. Right, reverse.
Right, okay, so we need to do these predictions. Let's see. So, on the last one, we decided that we weren't going to do... did we? No, we weren't going to do pole sitter. What did we do last time? Who qualified fourth?
5th, 6th.
Who qualified 4th? All right, podium. Yeah, we're not doing podium. It'll be 4th, 5th, and 6th. So, who qualifies in 4th place? Steve.
I won't be qualified in 4th.
Well, I know that, but who do you think will?
Vettel.
Why?
Why? Because it'd be a lot cooler. Mercedes and Ferrari will have their engine bays covered a bit more. Less drag. But because there's quite a few more corners, Mercedes will be quicker than Ferrari, but Leclerc will be quicker than Vettel.
Interesting. Okay, James, who do you think will qualify 4th?
Bottas.
Oh, why Bottas?
I think the Ferrari is going to be really strong. I think it's going to be a Ferrari front row, Hamilton the 3rd, and Bottas 4th.
Did you hear the question that Natalie Pinkham put to Bottas at Goodwood? She started an interview by saying, if you don't mind, we'll talk a little bit about the Silverstone Grand Prix. And she said, is it the best opportunity to get your season back on track? And then she went, well, actually, you don't need to get your season back on track because you're in the best cars and you're second in the championship. And it's like, the look on his face was like, yeah, I'm like doing really shit and I'm just getting beat by my teammates. So you're right, I do need to get my season back on track. But it'd be so easy for someone to look at it and just go, well, he's in second, he's being beat by Hamilton, what's the problem? Anyway.
Huh?
Right, I'm going to...
I heard as well that his mum shops at Iceland.
Tumbleweeds going past there, Steve. Jesus fucking Christ. It's Finnish anyway.
It's finished? I thought he's not even started
no,
yet.
he's Finnish. Not finished. Finnish. Yeah.
Icelandic.
I'm not even getting into that conversation. My brain ain't capable of it today. Anyway, my prediction for qualifying fourth is going to be Max Verstappen. I've got a feeling the Red Bull is going to be between a couple of Ferraris. I think Vettel's not going to be in the top four. Okay. Let's see. Who's going to win? Steve?
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah. James?
Who's going to win?
Yep.
Charles Leclerc.
Oh.
He won't win this season, though.
I don't know. I think Vettel's head's already gone, you know.
Yeah, I think he's checking out. I think Alonso's in that seat.
Well, interesting that Alonso, it was announced this week or last week that Alonso is now no longer a McLaren driver. But, I mean, it's interesting that there's been the story saying that, yes, he'd be interested in coming back to Formula One if he was in a race-winning car. Yeah, I don't know if I see it myself, but if Ferrari wanted a world champion in their car and it's not Hamilton, there isn't anyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, who am I going to go for winning the... You know what, I'm going to go Bottas. I think Hamilton will have a good race, but I just think Bottas is going to hit form. Something will happen to Hamilton. He either tends to win at Silverstone or shit happens. And I think it'll be shit happens this time around. Okay, who is going to finish 4th, 5th and 6th?
Well, Gasly won't be in any of those positions.
Why?
Because he'll finish lower than 6th.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's been sacked.
No. Are you waiting for me to go first again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Why do I have to be the one that goes first? So would you say 4th, 5th and 6th?
Yes.
Alright. 4th, Bottas. 5th, Vettel.
Yep.
6th, Verstappen.
I wrote down 6th. Fucking hell. Oh, my head is absolutely fried today. My head's burning. Just to let you know, James, I had actually done the picture and I could have sworn I'd sent it back to you, but looking at it, it would appear that it didn't send. So ignore what you're saying.
Okay.
Because I've already done it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay, James, who's going to finish 4th, 5th and 6th?
So Bottas is going to finish 4th. Then Verstappen. Then not Gasly because he's shit.
Yeah.
I need to think of somebody who's quick but not gonna. Fuck it, Lando Norris.
Oh.
But I just realised with the 3 that I've given, it means that either Gasly is going to be on the podium or one of the other car drivers.
Yeah, because you'd effectively have Hamilton winning, Leclerc 2nd. Who's 3rd then, Steve?
No, I just thought if I go with those 3, yeah, 2. I was just thinking if I go with those 3, there's a good chance that one of those 3 or 2 of them will be on the podium, meaning that hopefully one of the others will be in the 4th, 5th, or 6th.
Fair enough. I think James saying Norris is an interesting call because he has been getting better and better and better, and the car is getting better. Go on.
News from McLaren today that they are keeping Sainz and Norris for next season.
Yeah, that's a confirmation for Alonso. Bye.
Yeah,
so I've lost a point then for the end of the season predictions.
Yep, that Norris would be replaced halfway through.
Yeah. First to agree seat for next year.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's early to announce that they're having them next season. Very early.
Yeah, I suppose in a way though, it's what McLaren need to do though, isn't it? They need stability. They need to know exactly what they're doing going forward. Also, if they tie the drivers down now, they can trust them drivers to work on stuff for next season.
True. Good point. Yeah. That could be very, very interesting. Okay, who do I think is going to finish 4th, 5th? And you know what? I'm going to go with Norris 4th, Sainz 5th.
Hulkenberg.
I was going to say Hulkenberg.
Ricciardo.
I'm going to go Norris, Sainz, and Ricciardo.
One of those might get into the top, into the 4th, 5th, or 6th. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think all three could. If Renault bring a decent package, they could. I mean, they've got to do something because McLaren have shocked the world of Formula One, really, with their comeback this season. I mean, what was it? I think I saw something today. I was half asleep when I read it, but McLaren are in their highest championship position for something like 4 years? 5 years?
Might be 5, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, Steve, who's going to be first to crash out in the race? No, should we do race or should we do weekend? Race.
The race, okay. No one.
Nobody is banned.
Oh. In that case, then, I'm going to go with... Do you know what, right? It might as well be Vettel, because he fucks up a lot, so...
Okay.
Vettel.
Right, well, on the same statement, I might as well go with Grosjean, because he fucks up a lot.
I bet you this season, though, that Vettel's made more mistakes than Grosjean.
Probably.
Quite possibly. I'm just thinking, though, like drivers who are potentially under pressure that are going to be trying too hard. Gasly. Now, I did sort of half see a statement from Christian Horner that was saying that Gasly does need to basically up his game, but also like they're not pressuring, they're not looking at replacing him, so they're trying to remove that pressure away from him. They just want him to settle down and fucking drive.
Funny you should say that. I saw a statement released today saying that Red Bull have had Gasly's car back at their factory and completely X-rayed and MRI scanned the chassis to look for any defects and why that chassis should be not performing, and they've found 0 faults with it, and that is now going to pile the pressure onto Gasly to perform.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, we mentioned it not long ago on the podcast, and we sort of hinted at it at Austria, although it turned out that he didn't seem to be doing anything odd with the braking. But you look at Ricciardo, I've said this before, you look at Ricciardo, tried braking in a Renault the same way he did in a Red Bull, didn't work. So Gasly tried braking the same way in a Red Bull as he does in the Toro Rosso, and okay, it works, but you can do more. You can get more out of it. And he hasn't got to that. I mean, if he is the butt of James's jokes this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, we're going to need a couple of predictions, a couple of extra ones, guys.
I've got one, but I don't know how we're going to word this or how we work it out, but I would like to try and include one where it will be either how many times this will happen or whether it will happen at all. And that is whether we're going to have an incident where we're going to say, if they were in a situation where they had to give room, we'd have seen a battle then.
Oh, well, that's going to be difficult to keep an eye on.
Well, no,
but
because is somebody going to have to back out because they've not got the space, or is somebody squoze off the road and a potential argument? Are we going to see a situation like that this weekend? Yes or no?
the thing is, right, I know I can see why you'd like to put that forward, but when you actually look at it and look at the track, yeah, of course. Because all you got to do.
Your answer is yes then.
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's not because of the topic of conversation. It's because of the nature of that track. There are quite a few corners where people do get pushed out wide, and they shouldn't.
But just imagine it though, right? If you had to leave space, you've got cars that have come round cops side by side because of out of Woodcut, or whatever it's called. They've come out. You've got someone that's come up the inside approaching cops. They've gone through cops side by side. Now you've got Maggots and Beckett's and Church. You've got to go through their side by side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you've got a battle all the way up to Stowe.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, Steve. I'm just saying that as a prediction, we can do better.
Go on then.
When I said we, I meant you two. James, come on, give us some ideas for a prediction.
How many times are you going to see Jerry Halliwell in the race?
In the race? None. During the race.
Because she's not racing.
Yeah, during the race, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep count?
I'll just say, if it does a close-up or a shot of Jerry Halliwell in the Red Bull garage, then I get a point.
I don't
because
know.
if I said Jos Verstappen, then that's too easy. But yeah,
you could, but I'd rather focus it on stuff on the track. So why don't we do what we did at Austria? Who will be the first to get a penalty?
No one.
Banned. You should know that by now, Steve.
Oh, who's going to first get a penalty during the race, not beforehand?
During the race, including wrong positions on the grid and false starts.
Well, can't we change this to who's going to get a bullshit penalty?
You could, but then that's a matter of opinion, isn't it?
Or what about then? Hang on. Not who's going to be first to get a penalty. Who's going to be the first to be under investigation? That way, they don't necessarily need to receive a penalty or not.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Steve. How about... Right, I said we could do better, and I have done better, right? You said about...
We'll see about that.
Well, you said about how many times will we say, like, oh, if they'd had to stay side by side, okay, who will be the first person to be pushed off the track by another driver?
Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Where effectively they should have left space, or if they'd have left space. So, same kind of scenario,
if our rule was brought in, then they should have been left space.
Yes.
All right, so not who pushes somebody off, but who is the guy that isn't left the space. Yeah. Okay, let's have a think about this. Norris.
Okay. I like the way you did that. Let's have a think about this. Norris, no thinking, just, yeah, okay. Right, James, do you understand the question?
No.
No, my head hurts.
Right, you know, like, imagine Verstappen, Leclerc, Austria, Verstappen pushed Leclerc off the track. Yeah. In Silverstone, who will be the first person to be in that exact same situation in Leclerc's seat? So, which driver will be pushed off the track by someone else?
Grosjean.
Well,
not the person doing the pushing, the person receiving the push.
Yeah, Grosjean is a wimp. People push him off circuit all the time.
Okay.
It might even be Magnussen.
You could fucking well be. He did it in Spain. I mean, we talked about it at the time. Then I mean, Magnussen, he couldn't do that right if he tried.
He couldn't do that right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're picking up on me Yorkshire twang there.
Oh, Steve.
couldn't
It's because Dave wanted to call him a can't, and he couldn't.
Yeah.
And he couldn't.
If he couldn't have done it,
Yeah.
he couldn't have done it, could he?
No.
Fucking Sunday, we're at our mum's, and Steve turns around to Mum and goes, "Mum, how do you say couldn't?" And she goes, "Couldn't." Steve's daughter sat there, big smile on her face. Dad, you can't get her to say that. Don't you mean I couldn't?
That's it, just did.
Okay, who do I think is going to be first pushed off? You know what? I think it'll be Hamilton. I think
In turn one.
Yeah, well, not turn 1, turn 3. I think Vettel will push Hamilton off turn 3. A bit like Kimi did to him.
So let's just clarify this a minute then, right? It's not who's the first to complain about it. It's the first one we see that we believe should have been left more space.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Final
Pardon me.
prediction. I mean, David Harper said who gets the worst start off the line. We could do that, but it's going to be Kubica. So.
I was going to say who loses the most positions on the first lap.
Who's 20 seconds behind after 5 laps? Kubica.
What about who loses the most positions by the end of the race?
But still completes the race.
But still completes the race, yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't mean like, oh, well, Hamilton qualified pole, dropped down to last, but got back up to first. So
No, it's where they
finish.
In relative to where they started. Well, let's put it this way. It's not going to be Kubica because he can only go forward.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Russell unless everyone finishes and he loses one place. Okay. Magnussen.
Okay. I've got a feeling James is going to say Grosjean again.
No, because I said he's going to crash out, so I'll say Magnussen.
All right, I'm changing mine. Gasly.
Okay.
I think you're onto a winner there, Stephen. You just threw it away.
Now we'll see. I've got a feeling Magnussen's not going to finish.
The thing is, though, I think James might be on the right lines here, and it's not because Magnussen is not a fan of Magnussen. It's Haas can't
qualify well.
They qualify well, but can't race. So I'm gonna say Grosjean. Okay, done. Yeah.
I've got a feeling though that Gasly is going to qualify well, and then he's going to go to shit.
Well, I mean, the thing is, there is the chance that he could qualify in a position right behind his teammate, but with a big gap.
Yeah.
Right, let's just out of curiosity. And just fucking hell, you know what, Steve? You're not the only person who won't score a point for pre-season predictions. Both me and you said first to lose their race seat will be Lando Norris. But we shouldn't feel too bad because James said
Who did I say?
Bottas.
He still might lose his race seat by end of the year.
Yes. No. But no. Hang on. Well, okay. Before the last race of the championship, maybe. But will he be the first? Nah.
I don't know. I think Mercedes. He's doing a decent job this year as Bottas, but he's a decent number 2. That'll give him that. Mm-hmm. But
I think the first to lose a seat at the moment is likely to be Gasly.
Yeah,
I think
it's more than likely.
Or they'll keep him to the end of the season and they won't renew him.
Yeah.
But yeah. But then again, it could quite well be Kubica because Williams might go, do you know what? We've given him a go, but he's just not at the pace of
Russell. And their reserve driver, when he's been testing, has been
Latifi.
quicker. Yeah. Latifi.
Latifi, whatever.
don't understand why Red Bull don't go, Gasly's a bit shit.
Let's put Jensen Button in there.
Well, I did think of that today, because it says Honda Ambassador. And I was just thinking, if you think about Honda, now that they're technically a race-winning engine, do you think they've got a bit more clout when it comes to... Because Red Bull didn't win a race, did they, last year?
Yes, they did.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Max Verstappen won at Austria.
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's all they talked about all weekend.
Right. Well,
So you're thinking, are Honda going to have more power within Red Bull?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's not only Red Bull that won't be happy with Gasly, it's Honda. And if they push for a change, it's more often than not, it's going to be one of Toro Rosso drivers who gets the drive. But when you've got people like Esteban Ocon sitting on bench, why wouldn't you just check a chance and go, well...
Because he's Mercedes.
Yeah, but you could just say, well, you can take away your...
affiliation to Mercedes.
Affiliation.
Yeah.
He can't, though.
He
can't.
He
can't. I say he can't. He'd have to stop having Toto Wolff as his driver manager.
Yeah. But if that was what it took to get into Formula 1.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, as driver manager, if that was his only option, then the driver manager should be saying, look, I think you should take this choice. I can recommend some other very good driver managers, but if this is your only way into Formula 1, you should take it.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is with Honda and Red Bull, what I would say is, since when have Red Bull been influenced by anyone other than themselves? Never. You think about it, your engines fit our car, not the other way round. Like, you're our driver, you do what we fucking tell you, not the other way round.
Yeah.
You're our sponsors, like, yes, you can have your names on our cars, but it's to our benefit, not yours. There's I can't really think of much.
Well, something you said there was your engines have got to fit our cars. When they had Renault engines, they did not have that choice. It was Renault saying, here's our engine, fit it in a car. Yeah. And that is why they wanted to get, one of the reasons why they wanted to get away from Renault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they had the same dilemma McLaren had when Mercedes-Benz wanted to create the works team in 2010. And from that point, McLaren weren't the works team anymore, and they were having to pay for their engines. Whereas before, when it were just McLaren Mercedes and Mercedes didn't have a team, they were getting free engines from Mercedes-Benz to put their name on the side of the car. So if you think about it, when Renault were out of the sport as a works team, then once they became a works team, they had a bit more power behind them. And right now, Red Bull have got a situation where it's perfect for them because Honda don't have a works team.
Yeah. So Honda, I mean, this is the thing. If Red Bull were to say, or Adrian, sort of through Adrian Newey, were to say, look, we need this part of the engine to be a little bit thinner or not as wide on the car so that we can do something with the bodywork, Honda are more likely to go, okay, we'll see what we can do. Yeah. Whereas Renault would turn around and go, well, we're not doing that because we don't need it on our car. You get the same engines that our car's built for.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I mean, I know we've said it before, I could see Kvyat being put back up into that seat because he has been doing a phenomenal job. But at the same time, I think the best thing Kvyat can do is stay exactly where he fucking is for now. Even if he's in Toro Rosso next year, get some stability, show it that you can do it 2 seasons in a row. Because if the Honda engine is a race-winning engine now, what's it going to be next year?
I don't know if Kvyat's had like a psychologist or what, but it seems like he's more in control of his emotions. Whereas before, when he were turfed out of Red Bull and put in Toro Rosso, he looked like a broken man. He was like almost crying in every interview.
It's not a psychologist. He's been tapping PK Junior.
Yeah,
Or
the female one.
Yeah, the female one.
All right. Anyway, right. I'll tell you what's going to happen with Kvyat. He's not going to be at Toro Rosso next year. He's not going to be at Red Bull either. He's going to be in a Haas. Because he's got the affiliation to Ferrari because he was Ferrari test driver.
True.
And with Haas having Ferrari engines, and they are going to be looking at replacing Grosjean.
Yeah. Yeah, they are going to hang around. Plus, Kevin Magnussen, he were all lovey-dovey last year, going, oh, you're the perfect driver. This year, it's been a bit more awful.
Get out of my way. Get him out of my way.
I think Haas might be looking for a complete overhaul of the drivers.
Yeah. I mean, Gunter Steiner didn't want to keep Grosjean at the end of last year, so he hasn't done anything this year to change his mind. Don't get me wrong, though. Neither driver has been helped with the state of the car and the tyres, so they've not been able to show any ability if they've got any. But when you've got, at least once this season, Magnussen has been beaten by a Williams, then something's going desperately wrong there. Even with the drive-through penalty, I mean, not being daft, the Williams have been finishing multiple laps down. How the fuck has Magnussen ended up between? Anyway, so I could agree with you that there'll be an overhaul. Kvyat to Haas would be an interesting one because he has got the Ferrari affiliation, but I couldn't see Kvyat ever stepping up to Ferrari. Not unless all of a sudden. He showed some.
What about Mick Schumacher at Haas?
Well, that I could see. But go on.
The other thing for me is if I watched the F2 and Schumacher's just midfield driver, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's worse than midfield. He's not scored points for the last 6 or 7 races.
So unless it doesn't matter. Obviously, it matters what your name is. That really does help. But if he were finished top 3 or 4 in championship, I'd say yeah. But if he's gonna finish midfield at the end of the championship, I don't think he's gonna have a seat until maybe the following year.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. We've said on the podcast probably about a year ago that it would appear that he's always wanted to not play off his name. And proves that he's good enough. At the moment, he's not doing that. Now, the thing is, this is where the media is fucking stupid. Because what do I see on Facebook yesterday? A video clip of Mick Schumacher overtaking 14 cars. So, yeah, but hang on. He was a lap down and he was overtaking the slow cars at the back of the field. So it's he overtook 4 cars, but he didn't gain positions.
I've got to say, I'm really the older I get, the more sceptical I am of any media news source. Mm-hmm. BBC, I've cut ties with. Told them to go shove the TV license up their ass. As well, like I listened to Autosport on YouTube, and some of the people that they have on there that are supposed to be technical analysts and stuff like this, you just sit there and go, you just talking technical babble.
I find them boring.
Yeah, there's that big fat bloke, and I'm just like, oh my god. No offence.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to call somebody a big fat bloke.
It's not that you're fat. It's just that I mean, I don't know. I feel that like his body is like the basically sums the show up. It's just a load of talking about a load of tripe rather than getting to let's get to the hard hitting stuff. Like they did a thing where they did, let's rate Schumacher's cars, and they've got two people going, oh, well, I'd say this and I'd say that. And I was just thinking to myself, this isn't news. You just talking for the sake of talking.
But the interesting thing with that is, I did see a piece that Ted did from Goodwood over the weekend, looking at some of Schumacher's cars. But Ted being Ted makes it interesting.
Yeah.
I was fascinated watching that and him going, and have a look at this and have a look at that, and this is brilliant, and all the little details that he brings to it, and the excitement and the passion that he brings to it. Was, I mean, I shared it, and quite a few people liked it, and that's something that, I mean, okay, we are not the most technically gifted when it comes to Formula One, especially with James offending every fucker.
Yeah, I think the thing that we bring to it is that we're not like real racing drivers. However, I think we've got very similar brains in terms of, we know that we can race online. Therefore, it's not that I think we come at it from a driver's point of view and also a spectator's point of view and what you want to see.
Yeah. I just want to mention though, James, what do you mean I'm not a real racing driver? I'm looking at a television now that's got a picture of me in a racing suit. That's real, that is.
Yeah. That were we paid a lot of money to have that picture made.
I mean, something else as well. I mean, you talk about the media. I mean, one thing that I hope doesn't happen this weekend with Silverstone, and I mean, for example, Steve F1, who we race with, and he's listened to a lot of the podcasts, and he was saying that he used to watch all of the pre-show, and I did. I don't anymore because it tends to be repeated stuff. And in all fairness, with the Silverstone Grand Prix, I'd love to be able to spend pretty much all weekend sitting there, chilling out, watching all the pre-shows, and I will watch the practice sessions, but watching all the pre-shows and everything. But if the pre-shows are pretty much going to be filled with Leclerc and Verstappen in Austria, a little bit like we were for the first 30 minutes, I don't want that. In all fairness, that's done and dusted. Now, the reason that we have mentioned it is because we haven't been on. But there have been shows on Sky, so if you're a Sky Sports customer, there has been plenty of stuff that available for you to watch that goes through it all with analysis from different people, blah blah blah. It's all been already hammered. So if they talk about it pre-FP1, pre-FP2, pre-FP3, pre-qualifying, pre-race, post-race, that's media fucking repetitiveness that I just don't fucking need.
I tell you, out of all the Sky team, it'll probably bring it up. Simon Lazenby.
Oh yeah,
fucking dog shit.
It'll be his job to bring it up. But I mean, hopefully they won't, and hopefully it'll be a very exciting race. Either way, hopefully we'll be live on podcast to watch it. Now, something that you mentioned, Steve, while we were doing the last live one, was if people do watch Formula One but you get a little bit bored with it at times, then you can always put Formula One on, turn the volume off, and listen to us babble on about it instead. There might be a slight time difference, but there you go.
They might as well.
Yeah. Now,
but at least, if let's say you're abroad and you can't watch it for some whatever reason. At least
but it's broadcast abroad for free.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
Oh, but we don't.
No, exactly. No. This is something that does piss me off with Sky, with all of their advertisements that go exclusively live on Sky Sports, and it's like, well, that's only in the UK, because other countries you've got the Sky, not necessarily. Well, there is the Sky
app,
the F1 app, where you can watch it.
F1 TV app.
But if you're in the UK,
but not available in the UK.
Exactly.
Do we happen to know how much it is? If you, let's say, for example, you're in France. Do you happen to know how it's free to watch on the app?
Free.
So what the fuck? Why? What the fuck?
Free.
What? Seriously?
But it's not free in this country because Sky have got the rights, commercial rights to it.
You know what? I'd say then.
We moved to France.
We moved to France.
Fuck, they wouldn't let James in.
Everybody moved. Oh yeah, I'll tell him. Get your fucking frogs out of here. This is our New England.
Right, hang on. Right, okay. I don't know if it is free. Hang on.
I was thinking, wait. If you paid a monthly subscription of about £5, I'd be happy with that.
Right, okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, just to let you know, it isn't free, right? Even if you're in France, either that or okay. So if you're in France, right, you can live stream every track session for all Grand Prix, access all driver onboard cameras and team radios, and you can live stream Formula 2, Formula 3, and the Porsche Super Cup. But that's €189.99 a year, or that's the pro thing, right? Or you can have F1 TV access, watch all the races as replays, right? So full race replays and highlights, on-demand access to all F1 onboard cameras, watch all F1, F2, F3 Porsche Super Cup replays, and all F1's historic race archive for €27 a year.
€27 a year, and you get to watch the full race replay after the event's happened.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, that would be perfect. Because, you would get your hardcore people who want to watch it live, but then and you charge a premium for that. But for people like me who can wait, but are on a budget, that's perfect.
The thing is, though, James, that's not available to you.
Why?
Because that's if you're in France. If you're in the United Kingdom, this is what's available to you.
Is it because of Brexit?
No. It's simply because of Sky.
I'm just having a look now. I'm pretty sure in the USA it's free.
Right.
I think different regions have different costs.
Right. I'll have a look at the USA in a sec, right? Okay, so in the United Kingdom, you get F1 history on demand, exclusive documentaries, 650 plus historic races from the F1 archives for $19.99 a year. For £2.29 a month, you could have full access to all live timing features, live leaderboard data, real-time telemetry, best clips of team radio, live driver maps, and tyre usage history, but no fucking video of any type of the race. Okay, United States of America. It's not free there either. Let's see, $80 for basically what I said France gets for €200, and $27 for being able to watch all of the races replays.
That's a good price. That even the $200, when you think about it, that's like £120.
Well, this is the thing. Cause if you're a Sky customer in the UK, right, you've got to have Sky internet, basically. Well, you might not have to have. You got to have Sky TV.
You've got to have TV. Yeah.
It works out cheaper if you've got internet and TV.
Well, yeah, okay. So you need Sky TV and internet to get the price down to about 40 quid a month. Then
I must say, hang on. If you want the HD channels, you have to have it. You got to have internet. So you might as well include internet cost in there.
Yep. I wasn't really listening to you. I was reading Richard's message, which said, "What have I missed? Are we moving to France now? Maybe."
No, America. It's cheaper.
Well, hang on. Why not? I'll tell you what. Let's have a look at somewhere really nice, eh?
Well, you could go to Hawaii. That's America.
Well,
shit, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, like Hawaii, but the
Well, if you didn't want to go as far, what about Ireland?
Oh, hang on. Sorry.
Yeah, we could just get on a boat just for a day, us three, get in a dinghy, get over to Ireland, turn on the F1 app, and then swim back.
Swim back?
Fuck off. We wouldn't even get to row there. Right, okay. Let's see. I was just looking if it's available in Afghanistan. Um,
Have they got signal?
it seemed to take me to a page wanting me to register, and I'm like, no thanks, you're all right. Okay, somewhere not right. Steve said Hawaii, so let's have a look.
Oh, hang on. In Australia, you can watch F1 TV for €0. Not the F1 TV app, but there's it's called Channel 10. It's got all races, all qualifying, all practice, and the cost is nil.
Fucking hell.
Right, there we go. We're off to Australia, guys.
I don't know, it's a bit hot there.
All right.
And there's lots of animals that could kill you. What about Bermuda?
What about Austria? Shall I just read out the ones that are free?
No.
And you just say yes or no whether you want to go there or not.
Yeah, okay, go on then.
Austria.
That's all right.
Belgium.
Yeah. That's all right. I've got some waffles.
Brazil.
No.
China.
No.
No.
Germany.
No.
Greece.
Well, everything's cheap there at the minute, isn't it?
Chip.
Cheap as chips. Hungary.
I am, yes.
India.
No.
I'd like to go to India, but not like New Delhi. I'd like to go to like countryside India.
No, you would. You will get Delhi belly, guaranteed.
What about Lithuania?
No.
Where's that?
It's near Latvia. No, I don't know. Italy?
Yeah.
Mexico?
No. Too fucking.
Netherlands?
Yeah.
Pakistan?
No.
You
Russia?
racist bastard.
No.
Russia?
No.
So I'm going to read through these a bit quicker.
I want to sit with Putin while I watch it.
This has got nothing to
Slovakia,
do with...
Slovenia,
This has got nothing
Spain,
to do
Sweden,
with race. This is all
Switzerland.
to do... My answers are all to do with weather, food, living conditions. Nothing to do with race.
Yeah.
Japan?
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
because I'd be a giant.
You don't need to get so defensive. I'm only joking.
I'm not getting defensive.
Well, there you go. This thing actually has got a little price next to the UK, and it says the cost of viewing it in the UK on Sky, on average, is £580.
Jesus Christ!
Exactly, and that's why I'm telling you right now, the UK as I was thinking this the other day. In the future, all the sports companies will just have apps.
Yeah.
So in the future, it'll be when the Sky contract runs out, companies like Sky will fall by the wayside, and people will wake up like I have and gone, just watch everything on the internet. There's no point in spending so much money.
Yeah.
So people will wake up and anything that they're into. So, for example, myself, I like Star Wars,
Love Island.
I
don't.
And
James does.
Formula One, right? And James Bond. So you could have the James Bond, Star Wars, Formula One, Love Island app, right? Where that's all, and you pay for just that.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're paying for such a niche product that's related to that, it'd be like the Netflix of Formula One, the Netflix of Star Wars.
Yes.
Where you've got all your documentaries, all your historical stuff.
Yeah.
And same with James Bond and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In order to keep your costs low, but you pay that monthly subscription because they keep updating the catalogue.
Yeah.
And a bit like, but right now, companies are tied to TV deals that have probably been set in stone for 10 years or so. When's the Sky F1 deal over?
Oh, fucking hell. I don't know.
Don't know.
I'll Google it.
Because I bet
they've got about 10 years.
I bet you football will go to an app like Netflix.
I don't think that will, because the football teams make too much money off Sky.
But But the thing is with Sky only gives the. Let's say, for example, you sit down to watch a football match, right? They'll only, let's say, the Sky Sports subscription package is just general Sky Sports. So you've got all them different sports to separate out your money, and whichever's most popular gets most of the money. So your football will get most of the money. But let's say, for example, I'm sitting down to sit and watch football, right? Only probably about £1 worth of my Sky Sports subscription will go to football. However, if I pay for an app that's only £4, then that football team are getting £4 revenue rather than £1 from Sky.
It's changed though, with Sky in the last 12 months. Whereas there is just a football channel now that you can subscribe just to football, as you can just to F1, or you can just to boxing, or just to cricket or whatever. So you don't have to pay for all the different sports, and your money gets split between the different sports. You can just subscribe to one.
All I'm saying is, if you cut out the middleman, which is Sky, it's better for both parties. It's cheaper for the person watching, plus the company of UEFA or whatever. If you pay for their app, they get all the money. They're not having to share it with Sky. You see what I mean?
No.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not listening because I'm trying to find out about Sky's F1 contract.
I thought you were just going to say I'm not listening because I'm watching pause.
Well, the thing interesting. I mean, okay, if you were going to search for when the Sky F1 deal was going to finish, what would you type into Google?
I would type in Sky Sports F1 contract.
Okay, I've already done that, and let's see what comes up. Sky Sports F1 Wikipedia, it's not on there. F1 and TV rights, what does the future hold?
I've got the answer for you, Dave.
Wait, hang on. Hang on. Let me finish this, right? So the Google search is Sky Sports F1 contract, and it comes up F1 and TV rights, what does the future hold? BBC Sport 2018. So go on, Steve, when's it end?
2024.
Okay.
It's a 5-year contract that's renewed every 5 years, and the contract runs from 2019 to 2024.
Why do you think F1 decided not to just allow the app in the UK?
I don't think it's that they didn't decide to allow it, right? This is the thing that Sky Sports do. Now, I've already mentioned that I don't like the fact that Sky Sports constantly say exclusively on Sky Sports. Now, that is a UK only thing, but that's the thing. Sky Sports have the exclusive rights to Formula One in the UK.
Yeah.
So even though F1 has an app, Sky have got the exclusive rights. So F1 can't show it in the UK.
But it only hurts
F1.
you in order. It only hurts F1. It doesn't. Technically you've got money in your pocket, but it doesn't help F1's popularity.
It doesn't.
If you put it behind a massive paywall like that, where your average Joe, who, let's say for example me, I really like Formula 1, but if my mum and dad didn't have Sky Sports, I wouldn't be able to watch it live. I'd have to wait for.
I'm the same. Well, this is the thing. You'd have to wait for what? Because there is no
illegally.
Well, that's the thing. There is no replays on terrestrial TV anymore, I believe.
Yeah.
Not full replays, it's highlights.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I'd have to stream it illegally.
Illegally, yeah. But having said that, not that I've used them much, but I can't say I've ever seen F1 content other than the documentary. There's never been live sort of. Sorry, Steve, do you want to toke on your e-cig any harder?
Yeah, okay.
No, don't. On particular website that I use, I can't say I've ever seen it showing F1 races
No.
or even historic races.
To be fair, I haven't gone out and searched for illegal streaming, but that's only because my mum and dad have got Sky Sports. So
I mean, the thing is,
really wanted to watch it live. I know where to go.
Well,
I know someone that didn't have access.
Is his name Steve?
It may have been. That didn't have access to watch the over one period of time. That didn't have access to watching Formula One live, and looked for streams, and they are available.
Guys, just to warn you, I'm just going to toilet for a number 2 because my tummy's rumbling. So I'm going to be on mute for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there are specific...
We can slag James off and he can't come back.
Oh, no, he will. He'll just fucking having a shit noise in the background. The thing is, yes, there are illegal websites out there that you can live stream sporting events like boxing, MMA, F1, stuff like that. You just have to fuck about with all of the different pop-ups and stuff. Dave the Arp's saying that he's got the perfect solution for Sky TV. Go ahead, Dave. Feel free to tell us. I've got a feeling it's going to be along the lines of fuck off, you cunt. Rich Blues says go to the Caribbean. Now that'd be an interesting one. But yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that James can still hear us. So something that he said a moment ago was, why would F1 choose to not allow to have their app in the UK? Well, I'm going to do a bit of a Neil deGrasse Tyson now. That's not exactly the right question to ask. The right question to ask is, why would F1 grant Sky the exclusive rights that would even restrict themselves, i.e. F1, from having something like the F1 app available to people in the UK? I'll tell you why. Money.
That's all it comes down to. It's money. It's like, we will give you twice as much as what you asked for if you give us exclusive rights.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. And how is anybody like BBC or Channel 4 or ITV or any other broadcaster supposed to compete?
Yeah.
It won't be too long though before it's deemed that that Sky have got a monopoly on sport.
Yeah.
Sport broadcasting.
Yeah. I mean, I do know that Sky have been trying to get exclusive rights to things like World Cup and things like that. But thankfully, well, the governing bodies of things like, somehow FIFA haven't fallen for that one yet. God knows how, with all the corruption they've had over the years.
And I'll tell you why. It's because you've got national broadcasting corporations like BBC, British Broadcasting Corporations, that they basically say, look, we're here mainly to broadcast the news to the nation. We also do other shows. And the World Cup and showing World Cup matches is part of that. Because the World Cup is so big. That's how they get around it.
Yeah. And rightly so. Now, something, while James can't talk and he's having a shit, something I saw, I didn't actually watch it, again I only read the headline, but the headline was interview with Bernie Ecclestone as he says that Putin should be running Europe.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I didn't watch it, but I won't be surprised if James did, if he's seen it. If not, he'll be looking for it in a minute. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised with that one.
Well, maybe he should be in charge of the Brexit deal.
Maybe. The thing is,
you give us what we want, or we kill you all.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I know. I know James wanted to talk about sort of Nico Rosberg's podcast, his recent one with Claire Williams.
While James is on the loo, we should just finish and not give him any chance to talk Star Wars.
True, we could, but there's something that I actually want to talk about.
Is there desperate now, wiping his arse quick?
Nah, there is something I do want to talk about though, and it isn't actually anything to do with F1. But I want to wait until James comes back because he's kind of connected to it. But I know you started listening, or you said you started listening to Nico's podcast with Claire Williams.
Some of them, yeah. Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
About halfway through. It was all right, but I did start listening to it quite late at night, and I was listening to it when I was in bed, so I did fall asleep halfway through. So, yeah, is it interesting? I don't know. A lot of it's what I've already heard and what I'm already aware of. So it's not like it goes into anything new I mean, it's like I listened to the podcast with Toto Wolff, and it tells you a lot about his life before it was in Formula One, and you learn a lot.
You know he was rushing to wipe his backside.
No, I'm not finished. I'm taking a breather. The Claire Williams podcast with Nico Rosberg is not the best one. She has very stock answers. Yeah. She's very corporate. She doesn't flow. The one with Danny Ricciardo is one of the best. There's one also with Flavio Brigatore. That's
I couldn't understand what he was saying.
I know. It's like he's got treacle in his mouth. It's like,
but I put Google subtitles on to help me, not Google. YouTube subtitles on. He didn't have a fucking clue what he was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Unaudible.
That's what makes it
Unaudible.
That's what makes it so good. But yeah, the Claire Williams one is not a great representation of that podcast. Yeah.
I mean,
the only reason I wanted to watch it I wanted to see what's going on behind the scenes at Williams, and by the sounds of it, it just seems like a bit of a dire situation where staff aren't bothered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is quite interesting in a way, because that was a very good opportunity. I mean, Nico Rosberg is not a big media guru, right? But we all watched the Joe Rogan podcast, and people have realised it's a very good place to go to be heard, right? So if you want to get the truth out, it's a very good place to do it, right? And Nico Rosberg is in a little bit of a niche market where he has the fame to bring almost anybody onto his podcast, right? And
not just Formula One.
Not just Formula One, right? But if you remember when McLaren fucked up at Indy, right? Fucking Zach Brown came into the Sky F1 commentary box and just fucking laid it on the line. No bullshit, just here you go, here's the truth. And he'd done that since Indy as well, so he just didn't skirt around anything. There was no corporate BS. It was, look, we fucked up, this is what we did, this is what we didn't do, I'll take the blame, I should have been on it more. And it was refreshing to have that. Now, if Claire Williams, I've not listened to the podcast, but I will do, if Claire Williams had come onto the podcast and gone, well, look, here's the God's honest truth of it, people would then go, well, it doesn't matter, okay, bit of a generalisation there. Personally, I would go, okay, well, at least you're telling us the truth now, and I will judge that however I do. Not, oh, well, you're just sprouting corporate bullshit. Because I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, yes, well, we had to get rid of Paddy Lowe for some really important reasons. Can't tell you exactly what they are, but it had to do with front wings and someone's wife.
Exactly. The thing for me, I'm just having a little break. I'll be going back on mute in a second. But the thing for me about that podcast that it showed me there were I don't know if Steve got to it, but there was a specific moment where she said there was a father who had brought the son and was basically saying, look, I want you to take my son as one of your drivers. And this were a contract for either 2018 or 2019.
Hang on a minute, James. You've already had a flush, haven't you?
What? I've already had what?
A flush. Sorry, I can hear running water.
Oh yeah, I've had one flush. Yeah.
A courtesy flush.
A courtesy.
So yeah. One of the things that she says to me that's quite telling is she goes, oh well, the thing was, there's a culture of sexism, and she got onto sexism. I started thinking to myself,
I've not got to that bit yet.
I started thinking to myself, oh no, what is this? This is not, I want to get my team back to front. This is personal vendetta stuff, right? And no offence, this is partly the thing that I find fascinating with Love Island is the blokes tend to just get on with shit, and the girls tend to just talk behind each other's back.
Bitch.
Load of bitching, yeah. And she goes, "Oh well, we're in this meeting, and there's one of the chairmen sat next to me, who's a bit older than me." And the father of one of the new drivers were basically saying, "Please take my son as your driver." But he wasn't talking to me. He was talking to the elderly gentleman who was a board member next to me. She says, I didn't say anything. I waited for the meeting to be over, and then when they left, I says, "It's my name above the door. Why weren't they speaking to me? They're not driving here."
She should have said
Exactly.
that when they were in the room.
Exactly. That's what Nico Rosberg says. He says, "Well, you should have said to them, please speak to me. I'm the owner of the team."
Yeah.
Or you should be addressing me.
You should be addressing me. I'm the owner of the team. And he says, Nico Rosberg says, you don't do it in a way that's like arsey. Just say, please address me because I'm the owner of the team. This is one of my shareholders who's one of my advisors.
Yeah.
But the buck stops with me, so please, talk directly to me.
Yeah.
That's all it would have needed. So basically, that tells me there's a clear communication breakdown from the very top of the company. Yeah. And the fact that when the person left, that she then basically said, "Oh, well, because they weren't talking to me, that they're not having a drive here," that tells me she's got an attitude problem, and she can't deal with situations. And she says, "Oh, it was complete sexism. It was complete sexism." It's like, no, I'm sorry. It might just be that the man who's saying, "I want my son to drive for your team," he might just feel more comfortable talking to a man. That might just be the situation. It isn't that he was being sexist.
It might have been deemed that if he'd have been looking at her 100% of the time, she'd have been saying he was eyeing me up all the time.
Maybe
exactly.
Maybe he just had a lazy eye.
Yeah, he might have been like Cyclops. But
or maybe he's just gay and he was eyeing up the old guy.
But this is what I mean. Rather than taking the situation and addressing the problems at the time, it seems to me there's a lot of bitching going on behind the scenes. I mean, we remember that scene, Steve, where it came out where she was basically talking to somebody else and looking at someone on the phone to another woman within the F1 team going, and it basically came out that, "Oh, look at this, he wasn't wearing his work pants, he was wearing shorts." Now, that just tells me you ain't got the balls to go speak directly to the person you've got a problem with. And therefore, that'll create a culture where people don't want to come and talk to you because they'll feel like you're just talking about me behind my back.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the situation and you want to base it on sexism rather than your own problem, which if I owned a company and somebody was talking to my friend who, let's say, for example, I owned a company and Dave and Steve, I brought you two there, but it felt like nobody was talking to me, they were talking to you two. It's my job as the owner of the company to show in body language that the buck stops with me. That's not anybody else's problem other than mine because it's my team.
I mean, it's slightly different, but I mean, I've had it where I have been. It's been a long time, but I've been
just so you know, I'm going on mute because I need another push.
he's giving birth. I've been in town doing shopping before. When we were talking like 10, 15 years ago, and had people come up to me and go, "Excuse me, do you work here? Can you tell me where the so and so are?" Because I was wearing a suit, and it's like, "No, I don't work here." But I just happened to be wearing a suit, and they automatically assumed that I worked there. And it's like, well, okay, you've misunderstood and you've presumed wrong. But I mean, that's not sexist. I mean, I could easily have just, like, if she'd have said, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the toilets are?" I could easily have gone, "Yeah, they're over there." Now I would have known no different. But if the person had actually said, "Excuse me, do you work here? Can you tell me where the toilets are?" If my answer is, "Yeah, they're over there," she thinks I work there. right? But it would be down to me to say, I don't work here, but the toilets are over there. Now, she knows the reality of the situation. I don't work there, but she also knows I'm not a knobhead, and I've told her where the toilets are, unless I've been a dick and set her in the wrong direction. Anyway, Steve F1 has commented saying, I joined just as you are talking about Love Island, for fuck's sake. And also that he would love to hear Patrick Head just ripping into everyone at Williams. I would, actually. I hope, if I remember rightly, actually, I'm pretty sure...
Temporarily. He's there.
Well, he is. That's not what I'm on about, though. I'm pretty sure that Williams are involved in the Netflix documentary this year.
Yes.
Which would mean there's half a chance of us seeing some of that. I mean, this is the thing, right? Gunter Steiner, right? If Gunter Steiner had been in Claire Williams' situation then, would he have said something or would he have not said something? He'd have fucking said something.
Well, also, though, right, if she's addressed the guy when he's come in and said, I'm Claire Williams, and done everything in the correct manner, they should have understood who he was. But if she's then said, these are such and such, they're my advisors from the board, if she's said that they are my advisors from the board, if I'm then trying to promote something, and in his case, it was his son's driving ability, you want to do it to the advisors that they're going to advise her.
Yeah. To
get your point across to the advisors.
Yeah. I mean,
so there's that aspect of it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching Dragon's Den, and you've got... picture yourself being in Dragon's Den, right? And you've got something that you want all these dragons to give you money for. Which one do you look at? Do you look at the one that you really want, or do you look at them all? No, you look at them all.
You do look at them all, yeah.
You look at them all, because the one that you want may not be interested. But if you've only looked at that one, the others are not going to be interested because you never addressed them.
Yeah, that's the problem for me. Is it seems to me like I don't want to be awful. It might just be something like the way she's been brought up or whatever. But it came across to me like she had a problem with people within her team knowing she's the boss. And even people out of the team knowing she's the boss. And rather than just saying, look, I'm the boss, look, this is what I want, do it. Well, yeah. And that's the situation. But if you're then going, oh, well, that person was talking more to men within my team than me, that's a really shit excuse for not being a good manager for me.
Yeah. I mean, it probably doesn't help that she's vice owner or deputy owner or whatever it is. She's not. I mean, Frank Williams is still the head man, and he should be, but obviously he's not active within it. But anyway, I mean, we could go on about that for ages. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to listen into it. I've been wanting to. I started watching the one with Danny Ricciardo. I didn't get all the way through it. But I do want to start getting onto more of them. I'm going to switch things up slightly because we've been going on for just over 2 hours, and I said we're only going to be on for a short one today. And this
hashtag blame James.
Hashtag blame James. Yeah, what the fuck's it got to do with Max Chilton? I'm just going to mention something that involves James, which is going to make him panic now. Involves James, but has nothing.
We got Yoda.
What? I didn't hear
Sound
what you
like
said.
Yoda.
All right. Involves, yes. So it involves James, but has nothing to do with Formula One, but does have something to do with something that all three of us have seen and heard, right? And pretty much all of us will have experienced, whether we've realised it or not, right? Now, James, when we were doing the commentary for Steve and Ray's Racing League, just before the weekend. Do you remember me talking about the back of Con Reese's car?
Yeah, you said it looks like something, and my brain was like, no.
Yeah,
who's Ahmed?
Right, I said it looked like Ahmed, the dead terrorist, right? Now, I happened to come onto my computer the next day right? And I happened to go on to Facebook. And right in the middle of the screen, straight away, was suggested for you,
Ahmed the Dead
Jeff
Terrorist.
Dunham with Ahmed the Dead
Yeah.
Terrorist. Now, I hadn't said Jeff Dunham. I've watched many of his stuff, but not for a long time. The only reference I'd made in any way, shape, or form was in conversation to you during a commentary, and all I said was Ahmed the Dead Terrorist and Silence I Kill You.
And that's why I do not use Facebook other than to message people.
But this is the thing. I don't necessarily think it's Facebook, because you've got to look at it, right? Is it Facebook that is listening to a conversation that I've had, or is it my phone? Or is it something else within my phone? Because this is what's happened, or my computer, right? Because we were talking over Skype, right? So somewhere down the line, something has listened to me say Ahmed the Dead Terrorist, and it's resulted in that being suggested to me on Facebook.
Yeah. Yep.
And
that's something that's listened to you is Facebook.
Not necessarily.
I'm not sure it is.
Facebook must have a thing where it's linked to any kind of device that's got any sort of recording software on it.
No, what it'll be is it'll be something like Google, and the reason why I say Google is they use their whichever. I say Google because they do advertising.
Google and Facebook might as well be the same company.
They are different, but I understand. But basically, it's the adverts in Facebook, right? And there'll be a company that put them there, and it's not Facebook. And that's why when there's a guy, Martin Lewis, who's had a big hoo-ha about some adverts using him that wasn't him, and Facebook don't put the adverts on, but it was up to Facebook to find these and remove them. Yeah? And because basically people were complaining to Martin Lewis that they'd done what he'd said in these adverts and they'd lost money. Oh yeah, he's all about saving money. And he would never give this advice and blah, 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 and his adverts, basically it was a scam. But there's an algorithm that advertising companies or someone like Google that put on the internet that find all the data off you, and then they sell that to Facebook.
Yeah.
So that they say, we've got this person's data, would you like it? And they go, yes, please, because then they know that they can market you with adverts and stuff like Ahmed the Dead Terrorist, stuff that's relevant to you. But they won't just buy yours; they'll buy everybody's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, though, it's like, okay, these companies, what have they heard me say those words on? Is it my phone? Is it my headset that's connected to my computer? Because,
that my sister's got one of them Amazon Alexas.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to talk. I just sit there quiet because my brain's like, I don't know what it's going to pick up on me.
Yeah.
I don't know what on earth it's going to be recording.
People may go, oh, you're just being paranoid, but no, because the reality is, if I say the words "hey" and give it a few more words, not that one, but Siri, right, my phone will answer me, right? And don't get me wrong, the technology is great and brilliant, but as Joe Rogan said on his podcast, that means that your phone is listening for you to say those words all of the time, which means your phone is listening to you all of the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking it is. The phone has heard me say those things. Yeah. Google, which is on my phone, because it is the search engine on my phone, that is potentially connected into the microphone software, which is also listening to everything that my phone is listening for. And accessing and realised, okay, so this is something I do want people to try this, right? And I'm not saying get your phone and try and get as many things as you can, but let's say, for example, over the next few days, if James was only once, because it was only once that I said this as well, but just for example, say something really random, right?
All right, I'll tell you what. If you said, and I'm going to say it now, so this is going to be what I say, right? And there's no reason why I need to say this word for any other reason, all right? And I'll probably say this, I'm going to say it probably 3 times this week, and I'm going to say it when there's no one else around me, but I've got my phone near me. And what I'm going to say is Pampers, nappies, all right?
Okay.
And we're going to see if I get any adverts come up for Pampers, nappies.
Hang on a minute. Right, now we used that as a sponsor for our football team.
Oh, we did. That's probably why it came into my head.
Right, I was wondering if you'd had any adverts come in. I mean, okay, that's a good one to have, right? Because there is absolutely zero
I don't
reason.
have babies.
You don't have babies. You've got kids, Steve. Don't forget about them.
I meant babies. I've got not grown-up children, but I've got children.
Teens and near teens, not babies. I mean, I have no reason to say those words. I don't even know if anyone would phone me up and say, could you pick me some?
I think you should come up with something that would be different to mine, but would be something that is out of your norm. Out of your norm, that wouldn't be no reason for it to be related to. I mean, I'll give you an example. Me and Claire, years ago, decided to start discussing about, getting married and this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden on Facebook, mine and hers are all coming up with places where you can go get married. And it's like, this was what, 10 years ago we started noticing that. Okay, so that data's been there more than 10 years. Okay,
so yeah, I mean, I ain't getting wed, so I'll randomly say stuff about, stuff like that. So what can James randomly say? Something that he'd never perhaps talk about. So
prophylactics.
Well, the thing is, it's got to be something that is likely for somebody to try and sell you something.
Condoms, that's how prophylactics, condoms, lubrication.
Now, you've probably talked about them with Vicky before.
No.
See, it'd have to be something, right?
Fleshlight.
Well, no, James. What you got to think is, it would have, for you to really notice it, it would have to be something that you would never have ever.
I never talk about prophylactics or lubricants.
I don't even know what prophylactics is.
Neither do
Condoms.
Well, you do talk about them, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, then.
Now you see, if
I tell you what,
I'll give you a good one, James. Stair lift.
Yeah, I bet there's never been a conversation about them with you and Vicky.
Stair lift.
Yeah, I tell you, right, and to make it specific, Stanner stair lift. What makes you go from here to there like this?
Stanner stair lift.
Yeah. You know what? They're more used for taking clothes upstairs than they are people. But
if I had a bungalow, I'd still have one to take me to the toilet.
Oh, that'd actually be pretty good, you know.
Why not?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, people who are listening to this, feel free to try it. Think of something that perhaps you would never ever talk about and just randomly say it. I mean, as I said, I only said it once and it appeared on my Facebook, right? So feel free to let us know how you get on with that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to call an end to our podcast now, unless there was anything else that you guys wanted to mention that you haven't mentioned yet.
No, you can't say that to James because we'll be here all bloody night.
Right, and if you've got to think about it, I think the answer there is no. I mean, this was going to be a short one, and we've been on for 2 hours, 15 minutes, and I've not eaten yet today. I'm fucking starving.
Okay.
I could really do with a Kentucky Fried Chicken. You say that. Fucking first comment on the chat tonight, right? What was it was talking about? Damp squibs. Dave the Harp's first comment, like me, when I'm going to actually read through the messages because right. So Dave's first comment was like me when I wank. Max fourth. I've no IKEA. Nico will be in a Ferrari next season. Rosberg. Perez first crash.
Okay. This is what I'm going to mention. I'm really, really sorry, Dave, but
oh God, what have I done?
Your dream woman, she's off the market, mate.
Oh, Riley.
Yeah, she got married, mate. I'm sorry.
You did tell me the other day, so
I'm trying to feel like we're on Love Island, but digitally.
Yeah.
Really sorry, mate.
I've been having some weird dreams recently about women. Like last night was,
Since I've been taking that CBD oil, I've not had any dreams at all, and I normally have really wacky dreams.
Have you just literally been sleeping, waking up and going, okay, let's get on with it?
I'll literally wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm up. And before, I'm waking up and feeling for an hour at least, like, trying to wake up.
Well, me, when I wake up at the moment, it's as if my eyes are pointing in different directions and one eye might be open but the other one's closed. But not only that, I mean, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I'm up. Why did I have to wake up from that dream?
Yeah.
But it wasn't, as in, like, I'm awake. Anyway, right, I think it's time for us to bring this to an end for tonight, with it being 5 to 11. And yeah, check out Dynamic GT League on YouTube for their race videos where me and James completely fuck up commentary, or at least this week I do. And it was quite funny, you know, James actually, because I told Steve that you'd got the CBD oil and you tried it before we did commentary, and he goes, "Oh, did he fuck it up?" I goes, "No, so you'll have to watch it, won't you?" Completely the opposite, pretty much.
Yeah, while my brain started working, I've got to say, before the actual race, I told myself I was going to have one spray at like 20 minutes before the race, and then I completely forgot, and I'd not had a spray all day, and I've got to say, I was fine for the majority of the race, and when I did that final pit stop, normally, well, throughout the rest of the race, for the first 3/4 of the race, I was pretty chilled out and like, oh, I'm doing all right here. And then that final part of the race, my head started burning again. I'm like, oh no. So I do think it does help, because it's weird. Like, as soon as I feel that burning head, I have a spray of that, and within 20 minutes, it's completely gone.
Well, what I would definitely recommend to you, right, is start writing a journal. Not necessarily a journal, but just make some make some notes of how your day's been with the use of CBD oil, and then pick a day to not use it for 2 or 3 days and make notes on those days as well. But I think those days where you're not using it, it has to be a number of days to get a perspective over a few days, so that it's not just I've not taken it, I'm feeling rough, a mental thing.
It also can take a number of weeks for it to get out of your system completely.
But I mean, I'm not saying don't use it for a number of weeks, but
I was just saying that.
But it's just a thing of like, okay, if for 2 weeks you've been waking up and it's like, ding, I'm awake, okay, let's go, and then you don't use it for 3 or 4 days, and on day 2 you're waking up and your eyes are pointing different directions and it's taking you an hour to get out of bed, that's a note. But if you've got a record of it, it will benefit you, and even, for example, benefit anybody else that might be not interested, but you could, for example, you could, for example, like Vicky, when she goes to work, she's no idea what you're doing all day. She don't know if you're rearranging the living room or having a wank or God knows what.
I told you, I had a day where I just wanted to do something, so my head were like, I'm just going to rearrange the front room and swap it all around.
And on the same day we did commentary, and we finished commentary at 4:45. And what time did Vicky get home?
Literally as soon as we finished.
And had you finished moving the room round at that point?
Guess what the first thing she said when she came in?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
She just went, I don't like it. And walked off. I was like, brilliant.
Yeah. So have you had to rearrange it again?
Yeah, I had to swap it back, yeah. But I've got to say, we were up watching Love Island till about 10 o'clock, and normally that's late for Vicky, so she went to bed. And I was really quite happy to swap the room back at 10 o'clock at night. I finished at about 12:30. And I'm like, oh, well, it were a waste of time, but I enjoyed moving stuff. That's weird. That's really weird. And if that were me normally, and I'd not took that stuff, and she'd have come in and gone, I don't like it, I'd have been like, well, it's fucking staying then.
Well, progress. Surprised, isn't it? So, but that's the thing. You could, like, if you were making notes at that time, you'd be able to show her and say, look, normally I'd have potentially reacted like this, if not verbally within myself, but using this oil, I didn't care that you didn't like. Well, not that you didn't care. It didn't affect me that you didn't like it, and I had no problem changing it back. I actually enjoyed it. Yeah,
but it's weird. It's really weird because it's like stuff that would really bother me. I'm literally talking to myself in my head, going, I'm not. I know normally I'd be getting fucked off about now, but I'm not.
Fucked off or sucked off?
Fucked off.
Oh, right, okay.
It's weird. It's really weird because it's like, well, I'm waiting for my head to follow my thoughts, but because my head doesn't follow my thoughts, I'll just let stuff go because I'm like, oh, well, my body's not. It's strange. It's like I'm waiting for my body to do the reaction which I'm waiting for it to do, which is normally a fucking hell, like blood boiling.
Yeah.
But it's since I've been taking it, I do 2 sprays a day now. It says maximum, something about 12 sprays a day. So I'm on a quite low amount compared to what it says you can maximum take. But I do find myself, so let's say something shit happens.
Excuse me.
Something shit happens. My normal reaction is, oh, for fuck's sake. And then my body would go to, and then my emotions would go, and then that would send me down the, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm really angry now for half an hour. But because my body doesn't go there, I go, oh, I'm fucked off about that. Oh, well.
Yeah.
And that's it doesn't allow your thoughts to go beyond what... the only way I can describe it is it doesn't allow you to keep going and going and going. It keeps you at a quite steady level of... What I don't understand is doctors are out there handing out antidepressants hand over fist. That's the best antidepressant I've ever had.
Well, I was going to ask you what... Sorry if you're getting a bit bored here, Steve, but or anyone else that's listening, but I do find it quite interesting, right? And me and James have talked a bit about it over the last few days, and I want to know if you've appeared to have any side effects.
No, not that I can think of. Not been like... You imagine, oh, well, if you take CBD oil, it's from cannabis, so you imagine to be like having trippy dreams and shit. Nothing at all. Literally no trippy dreams. It's literally the only difference I felt is I feel a bit more awake on a morning, which is good. I feel like I want to go to bed at a normal time,
which is good.
So it's 12 o'clock and I'm like, normally I go, oh, well, I'll just stay up a bit longer. It's 3 a.m. Oh, it's getting light. Oh, I feel like shit. Oh, go to bed. Don't want to wake up. Whereas now, I've been taking that, and it's like 12 o'clock, and my body's going, I think it's time for bed, mate. And that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's like, and as well, just thought processes. When I see people getting angry or see people being a dickhead, I just say to myself, they're being a dickhead. Oh, well.
Yeah.
And I don't allow myself to go through that never-ending thought process, which I do normally go down, which is, oh, they're being a dickhead. Why are they being a dickhead? What could it be that's made them get this angry? Can I do something and make them not this angry? No, and it just becomes then somebody else's problem becomes my problem. Whereas taking
then your
that stuff,
problem
it just
becomes
allows
other
you.
people's problem.
Yeah. But it just taking that just allows you to just think about yourself in a non-selfish way, but in a good way.
Magnussen needs to take that fucker then, and so does Perez. Okay, interesting stuff, and I'm sure we'll get an update on that another time. Okay, time to end, guys. My stomach is going mental. So we'll try and be live for the British Grand Prix this weekend. So if you want, come and check us out for that. Have a good one, guys, and we'll catch you all later.
Adios.
See you later.
Blah 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 blah.